I am going to call to order the special meeting 2,479th meeting of the Darien Police Commission. Acceptance of minutes of 6/20/24.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any additions, changes, questions? Okay, all those in favor? Correspondence, Chief.
Yes, the first item of correspondence is a thank you email from First Selectman Zagrodzky regarding all first responders who responded to a structure fire that unfortunately took place on, was it Stephen Mather? No, Christie Hill Road. He heard that nearly 60 volunteers from all three fire departments came to assist, and the family was very, very thankful for all of our help, and I think that the response kept the damage to a minimum, although it did sustain a lot. That's the first item. I know we had personnel there as well. I received a thank you note from the Minneapolis Police Department. I attended a funeral for one of their officers who was killed in the line of duty, and he was actually flown back home to New Haven where he grew up, so the burial was there. My connection with the Minneapolis Police Department is I have a classmate from my FBI Academy back in 2022, so she was very appreciative and had all the Minneapolis officers that were in attendance sign a nice thank you note that they sent to me. We received a thank you email from the Connecticut Police Academy, Post C, regarding Officer Lasser's instruction. Captain Mastriani, do you know more about it? I think you might know more, about that than I do.
The basic training director of that post reached out to us. Officer Lasser, in case you're not aware, he's fluent in ASL. I guess they caught wind, and there was only one instructor in the state of Connecticut who could actually instruct that course. So they're in a bit of a jam, so they reached out. They wanted to know if Derek was willing to help out. Derek volunteered. I got him through some instruction courses, and then he got his certification, and then went up there, helped out, and did a class for the basic training over there. So they were very pleased.
Say what ASL is? People.
What's that?
American Sign.
Yes,
Sign
American
language,
Sign Language. Yep.
That was nice that they recognized him. Great work by Officer Lasser. The next item is, was it a phone call we received? A phone call to Lieutenant Mulcahy complimenting traffic agent and former Darien police officer Carrie Perrone. As most of us know, Carrie Perrone's out there working hard almost every day, and a resident just wanted to point that out, that she was courteous, capable, efficient, and a true friend to the community. So thank you very much to Carrie Perrone. And as always, she does some good work out there.
Captain Hudema, when are you going to the FBI? You mentioned FBI, so when are you going to the FBI Academy? Is that?
The end of September.
It's end of September, okay.
Okay.
That's it for correspondence.
Department activity.
Okay, this is from June 19th through July 23rd. On June 22nd, Darien officers responded to 73 Christie Hill Road on a report of an active structure fire. No one was injured, and the fire marshal is investigating the fire. On June 25th, employees from Stop and Shop reported 2 male subjects stole $253 worth of meats from the store the night before. The investigation is ongoing. On July 2nd, 2 family members reported falling victim to a complex fraud involving cash and cryptocurrency. Darien Police Detective Division, along with Homeland Security Task Force, are investigating the scam. On July 6th, a 62-year-old female from Stamford was arrested by warrant for larceny 6. The larceny occurred in February of 2023 at Whole Foods. On July 11th, a 56-year-old male from North Carolina was arrested by warrant for forgery and identity theft, stemming from an incident that occurred in March of 2023, where he attempted to make a fraudulent bank transaction at Fairfield County Bank. On July 15th, a 29-year-old man from New York was arrested by warrant for a November 2023 incident in which he forcibly burglarized a residence and took over $25,000 worth of jewelry. On July 16th, officers responded to a Hollow Tree Ridge Road residence around 10 p.m. where the homeowner reported hearing glass break and confronted an intruder. The intruder fled when confronted. This is being investigated by the Detective Division. During the same time frame, we had 8 domestic disturbance incidents, 3 incidents of identity theft and/or check fraud, 8 car burglaries of unlocked vehicles, 7 motor vehicle burglaries, 44 motor vehicle accidents, 9 in private lots, 3 with an injury, 484 traffic stops conducted by the Patrol Division and Traffic Division. 189 of these stops were due to our aggressive driving grant that started July 8th. This grant ends on September 5th. There were 1,716 calls for service during the same time period, 136 aided calls, and just something of note here, the police department tested and deployed our first mobile flock camera for the fireworks. Worked out pretty well. We left it up for about a week and it kept its charge, which is nice to hear. And the accident investigation team has already utilized the flock technology for an investigation they're doing.
That's
So,
the portable one?
That's the portable, yes.
Great, congrats.
So one item of note that didn't quite make it is we did have a serious motor vehicle accident on Hoyt Street over the last week. I believe Commissioner Cunningham was there. Well, we've heard an update that we believe the lone operator of the moped or motorcycle that he will survive. Had significant injuries though, and our accident team is still investigating it. But that is the incident in which we use data from the mobile flock camera and the app and the network that just been introduced to us. So we're looking forward to getting the rest of our fixed cameras in place, and I know Captain Hedem is still working with the state to get the encroachment permits. So we should have those up shortly. I did want to also point out the good work that our detective division is doing. I know we list here several incidents that happened in previous years. It does take a lot of work on follow-up and investigations, and a lot of times it'll take our officers and our detectives out of state to follow these leads, and they're constantly pursuing burglaries, identity theft cases. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that they do, and it's nice to see that some of these cases get wrapped up with arrests. So I hope that our residents that we serve know that just because something took place and they don't get results, or we weren't able to close out an investigation within the first couple of weeks, we are still working on incidents, and we have a very high clearance rate for those types of incidents. I think that's all I have. Yes.
Any other questions for the chief or captain? Hearing none. Public comment. We have some members of the public, but I assume they are here for things on our agenda. So I'm happy to take your comments when your agenda item comes up. So that jumps us to old business, building issues. Any update?
Yes, there's a few. Our mini-split unit for our communication center has been successfully installed. We also got the new AC unit for our 911 server room done as well. Battery replacement for our UPS system. It kind of serves as a backup system in the event there's an issue with a generator. Electric wiring for the hot water heater has been done, and the whole nitrogen system for our fire suppression. That big project is just about complete.
And the AC was done already in the computer, right? That was done last time?
That was completed as well,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So all the big projects are done.
Women's locker room is completely open and done.
Yes,
The
women's
locks.
women's locker room is complete.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on some locks to be worked on, and it has no bearing on the function of the locker room. So that's open and being used. And we're very happy about it.
It's the only thing I'll add from old business is July 1, the department went encrypted on the Patrol 1 channel, right? All mobile and portable radio units are done. A very, very small number of non-DPD
That's a new.
personnel. We're given, I think it's less than 20. We're given access. They're just senior officers and chiefs of local departments. I think it's going great, right?
It's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
It hasn't impacted operations,
No,
and
no.
now that it's up and running, I know that keeps our officers safer and it keeps the information protected according to statute. So we're happy to have done that. Appreciate your help
Great.
with all that.
Great.
It's great, Kevin.
One more thing about the building. I know we did have air conditioning problems in the building last week or the week before, right, Rick? The town was very responsive to get that work done. I mean, it's July, so we know we're going to have air conditioning problems as we usually do. And we have a meeting, we're trying to schedule a meeting with the town regarding the new personnel that's going to be overseeing all our building maintenance, and so that we'll meet with the first selectman along with some other individuals from Public Works. They haven't put that date on the calendar yet, but maybe the second week of August.
Have they hired somebody already, or it's an existing?
They have not, right?
It's just to collaborate and figure out next steps? Okay. Did we do the sign out front, or are we looking into that?
We're still looking into that.
Okay.
Do you want to give an update on the town hiring a new fleet maintainer, and where we stand with that?
Yeah, we hired a new fleet mechanic. He's going to be starting his first shift on Monday. George Knapp is scheduled to retire August 1st, as you know, so that leaves him with a few days of training with George. We're pretty confident that our new hire will pick it up right away, and hopefully it will be a nice, smooth transition. We're excited about that.
So that's a town employee.
Yes.
Where's the person coming from? Another municipality or?
Yeah,
private?
he's actually from Charleston. He was working for a fire department as their fleet mechanic.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Okay. Traffic issues, bike ride event.
Yes, some personnel from the New England Bike Ride. It's a national type organization, and we're looking to ask our permission if they could drive a leg of their ride through the northern section of town to admire some of our older roads and trees specifically. I didn't see any problem with the event taking place. It's only going to come through Stamford and into Darien for a very short amount of time. I said that I would discuss with the Legal Traffic Authority, but it's not going to impact any traffic flow, and they obey all sorts of all the rules of the road, and they were just checking with each
Do
municipality.
we know a specific date and rough time?
I do.
that
I don't
they-
have the email
So that
on
we
here.
I have
at
it.
least
Oh,
have
do
an
you?
idea of when, I mean, they don't just appear, we have a,
Yeah, so it's September 23rd, and they're starting in Stamford that morning. So I would assume late morning to afternoon, they come through Darien, and they're going to be on the back roads. They won't even be on the main roads. They're going Hoyt to Middlesex, Christie Hill, Hollow Tree, up that way up
and
into New
then,
Kingdom.
and then don't.
Right. And there won't be more than 8 riders in a bunch at one time, so
You don't need any
That's a normal
police or
Saturday.
anything,
no
it's just-
police needed.
It is.
That's, I don't think we can, okay. That is nice to know, but they'll probably be in and out before anyone hopefully notices. Fairfield Avenue parking. All right.
Hello, my name is Carlisa Johnsanti, I'm at 7 Fairfield Ave.
I'm Jay Davidson, 208 West Avenue.
Good to see you.
Thanks for hearing us. We have on the corner of West Avenue and Fairfield Ave, it's sort of narrow, and we have cars that typically, or a specific 1 or 2 cars that park there often. And I had emailed Chief Marin asking if there was something we could do to designate a no parking area. There's been several almost accidents or mishaps with pedestrians. It's quiet now, but during the school year with the buses, we have a lot of buses that cut through Fairfield Ave to either get to the high school or Middlesex, and then the regular buses that come for pickup. And the street is very narrow, and if you're coming from the schools to pull out to West Avenue, you have to almost inch up to make sure the oncoming traffic, you're cleared from the curb. And then if somebody's turning on to Fairfield Avenue, there's a parked car there, I've seen pedestrians try to navigate the parked car when oncoming traffic is turning on, don't have visibility because of the parked car, and there are pedestrians right there. It's just too narrow for the buses and a parked car, and another car can't get through as they're turning on from West Avenue to Fairfield Ave. So it seems particularly dangerous, especially if there's a lot of children in the neighborhood. So that corner is particularly concerning because of the stop sign, oncoming traffic, turning on to West Ave and coming from West Ave. So I was hoping that we could explore, potentially putting a no parking area, at least during school, during business hours because of the school buses specifically. I don't know if you have something else to add.
No, it's basically the same thing, which is it creates a number of problems because it's this choke point. A, it's a small street, so it's difficult to drive through anyway. But because it's this choke point where people are turning in, people are actually turning in sometimes at like relatively high speeds. And A, that increases the chance of a crash, and B, increases the chance of someone getting hit. Because if you have the car taking up half the street, it's actually difficult to see anyone there, and that's a big problem for me because we have a newborn son and we're trying to walk, down the street, and we're like, I'm nervous we're going to get taken out by a car that's coming around the corner, can't see us. We pop out in front of the car, and then it's like too late. So I basically agree, and as much as it's my house that these signs would be in front of, and it's a disadvantage to me to not be able to park in front of the house or have my family be able to park in front of the house, but I'd be happy to take that to make the street safer for basically me and my family and others on that same street, both from a pedestrian standpoint and from a vehicle standpoint.
Is it the same neighbors or same two? I see that there's two cars in this picture. Is it the same people that park there where we can have a conversation with them? Or
well, we've
is
tried
it
that.
more than one neighbor that
We've
parks
had
there?
another neighbor to ask them not to park there because it's dangerous. And, we've called, I think probably between everybody, the police department's probably had a couple dozen phone calls about this parked car, but because it's a legal spot, there's really nothing they can do. So we've tried to have conversations with them. It's typically, I would say 2, maybe 3, but there's definitely one that's always there during those times.
Is that this car here on the northeast side of?
Yeah, probably.
It's like a silver
So-
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like one actually kind of pulls off, it looks like part of the road, this one in front of the tree.
I'm going to pass these down. So the pictures you're looking at are from Officer Bud, who
Yeah.
went there, and I had him.
So that's him
Sir.
parked here.
I'm not sure, that's probably his car pulled off
Yeah.
on the side, but the white car there is the one that we've gotten multiple calls on. So these are from Officer Bud, but here are some pictures that she took, which actually depicts a little better of the situation. Because when he was there, there was no, school's out, there was no buses or anything coming through, but this actually shows a little better view of the situation.
And the only thing I would add is that I think the car parking there more often has certainly made this like a much worse problem.
Right.
But it's still a problem either way. And the real problem is actually that we can't talk to every car that could park there. Like I've thought about that, like, oh, maybe I'll go talk to this van that's parking there now. It's like, it doesn't matter, because it's gonna be a different van the next week and the next week and the next week. So there needs to be some kind of more permanent approach.
And you're asking basically at that corner
Yeah, I
alone?
mean, basically
Okay.
at that corner, and then frankly on both sides of my driveway is one way to look at it, on that corner, and then right, like on the other side, and there's like a tree there.
This is you here or this is you?
So, there.
And it's pretty
You're here?
typical that we'll get like 2 to 3 buses that are waiting
Yeah,
at
this
that
is me.
stop sign.
So
for a
basically
while.
like right there, and then like right there.
Okay.
Can you, where?
Yeah, so
Well,
this is
certainly
South
the
saying
tree
here
side-
on the other side of the
So
street.
you're saying
Much
that this-
worse to me than the other side.
Agreed.
This
And
car
if
is
you're
not
coming
yours?
From West Ave turning,
No.
you.
Sorry,
you
the
don't
car
always see-
in
you
the
can't
driveway
see
is
it.
mine, the white one,
And
but
so
that's
there's-
not my car.
Whose car is that?
Yeah, so this is definitely the worst part. And then even that part, it's like it's still a little close, and you still have a little bit of the issue, but this is definitely the more
Well, I don't like the
pressing.
idea that you're
And whose car- do we know
swerving
whose car
out
that
into
is?
oncoming
Yeah, this is a
traffic.
car that
Yeah,
is,
not to mention names. yeah.
lives in a neighbor, basically, is.
Okay. But you see more than that car there?
Yeah, it's more than that car, that's what I mean, it's like,
Okay.
it's not even like, just that.
So, I'm sorry, Kim, we were talking over you. So from basically your driveway to the intersection is what you're asking for, no parking zone?
My driveway to the intersection, yeah, that's basically right. And I think if we could get it back up.
You see that, Kim?
That tree area, like here, I can just point it out again. Like,
Here,
I got it, I
Yeah,
got you.
you got
I
it.
got you.
to the intersection,
Yeah,
no parking.
yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it's controversial, but clearly one side is more problematic to me than the other, which is the side with the
That's-
tree on it.
The
big-
tree across, the one across from the tree has like private property where the fence is, like, they have enough room to park a car.
Correct.
It's not in the street,
Correct.
so that's why it's not, that side's not problematic.
Well,
Well,
and
the thing
the
is
people
that-
that are coming off are not rear-ending the guy over
Yep.
here. The person you're gonna have to then swerve around is the silver car.
That's
And
right.
then you're
That's
going
right.
into oncoming traffic.
Yes.
That's right. Although the thing I worry a little bit about is I would think we want the basically no parking on either side of right up to basically the end of my driveway, because you just end up recreating the problem just in a slightly less worse way, because you still have that choke point. It's just choke from the other side.
except, well.
There's no
and
real
I-
place to
I
park.
haven't gone out and looked at it, which we will, but on the other side, you could actually pull off. I mean, this person has to be
Yeah.
out in the middle of the road, there's no
That's right,
give.
that's right.
On
So
this
people-
side,
Pull off is private property, so what they would actually do, and people have done this in the past, just not as often, is just park next to that, basically in the street. And my understanding is currently there's no rule against that.
I got it, I hear you, loud and clear.
So they stack up, one in that, one on that little cutout niche on their private property, and then they put a car next to it?
So it used to be that my neighbors whose car it is that's on the private property didn't park their car there. And so people could and did park A, on their private property, and B, in the street, creating that choke point. Now what they've done is started to park there, I think to deter people from creating that choke point, because people inherently don't want to park someone in. But, that's not like the great situation.
And do we know whether, are they on board with the no parking on their side too? I don't know if they use their little spot or something.
They would still be able to use their spot, so I think they're totally fine with that.
Oh,
And they've
And-
posted signs, no parking, private property.
and that hasn't worked.
And you know that means from your driveway to just south of that fire hydrant, you're gonna have 2 signs on your property.
Yeah, so I think it'd be good to talk about how they would be put. I have some ideas. You could put them on the tree, and that would be less problematic. But
Other standards.
No can do.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
They have to meet
There is a
certain
sign
height,
after your driveway.
they have to meet certain height requirements and things like
And they
that.
have to be on a pole, and they can't be on a tree.
got it.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to see what they look like. But my impulse is as long as they aren't insane, I think it's worth doing.
We're gonna put LED lights on it, little flash.
Disco ball.
Yeah.
But isn't there a sign after your driveway that says?
That's slow down.
I don't know.
So Kim, should
Do
we
need
go
to
out
pass
and
anything?
take a look, or?
I mean,
Yeah, let's take a
why don't we go
Yeah.
out and take,
Yeah,
we usually
okay.
go out and take a look, but then, yeah.
And just so you're fully aware, I also ran accident numbers for the past 10 years, and there were 3 accidents, but none had to do with a vehicle parked there. At the time of the accident, there were no vehicles parked there, so those didn't
Well,
apply.
I mean, it definitely, again, I mean, even without the other car parked there, you're coming around and you're definitely swerving, it's narrow. I mean, you're in the oncoming traffic if you're going around that.
I used to live right there.
All right, we will go out and look, and then do we need to vote actually on putting up no parking signs in that? Or do we turn it back over to Captain Hidema to work with the neighbors? To come back to
I
us? or
think we have to look back at what we've done most recent, and I'm not sure off the top of my head.
We authorize Captain Hidema to the
Okay,
reasonable.
all right, well, we will take it up after the 3 of us get to go out and look, and then you can work with Captain Hidema, assuming that's no problem with us.
Yeah, we appreciate your consideration.
Of course.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, no, we appreciate, gets lonely here, we appreciate visitors. Okay, Corbin project road closure request. We have other guests.
So David, before you guys start, I will tell you, as a resident, not as being on the police commission, downtown looks great. Really, really looking forward to the rest of it. You have some really good tenants coming in as well, so congrats.
Thank you so much.
Very nice, very well done.
Well, Kevin's fingerprints are on it too, having been on the planning and zoning commission when we started this conversation, and I didn't have gray hair 20 years ago. With me is Brian Hollick, who is the project manager, or site, what do you call yourself, like project executive for Papachon, for A Papachon. Brian has really been the quarterback on the construction for the last 3 years. Through phase 1 and now phase 2. So I'll really let Brian kind of lead the conversation, but we've been lucky in that we haven't had to do this much. We did a lot of work. We've had to install new sewer lines, new electrical lines. We will have to do some additional sewer work on the post road in a couple of years, or maybe later next year.
Yeah, more on our side.
On our side.
As opposed to that.
Yeah, and then one important thing which you may not know is that we're actually working to relocate the power lines. So we're basically taking the power lines off Corbin Drive, the above-ground power lines and rerouting everything down the back of the site. So from exit 11 to Corbin Drive, there won't be power lines when we're done. If everything goes according to plan with Eversource
That
and all
would
the
be
adjacent
game
properties, which is going to be
changer.
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of brain damage, and it's going to involve a lot of collaboration with other property owners, but we've been engaging with everyone on the other side of the post road. Even the lines that run across the post road will be eliminated. That idea we took from my partner Penny Glassmeyer, who did that at Grove Street Plaza first. So we felt like she did it there, and it made a big difference. We wanted to do
It
it here.
makes such a difference.
Yeah. So, okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Yeah, so we're here today to just.
Can you see? Can
Am I okay?
you see him?
Yeah,
Okay, you
you're
want us to
okay.
slide over?
We were requesting road closure for our storm discharge outlet that's crossing Old Kings Highway. And we're looking for a short-term full closure due to the size of the crane and equipment we need to use for this. And it's large concrete precast segments of this head wall. So we not only have the crane on the side of the road to pull and set these, we actually need the truck on the other lane to grab them off. We also have a wider than normal trench in the road. It's 2 pipes wide, the crossing, so they're 2 30-inch pipes. The trench is more like 8 feet compared to your normal 4-foot trench. So my subcontractors had originally put together a schedule. It had a long duration on that. I went back and met with-
AKA, they sandbag us.
well, no, they just gave the whole scope and said, hey, close the road so I get the job done. So I went back and pushed it down on them and only would allow them stuff that, from a safety standpoint, were absolute clearance restriction, which we have 2 days of that we would entertain a full closure. So only where we absolutely need it. We ended up with 6 days, I have noted on the logistics plan I sent, and I did bring copies if you'd like me to pass them around. 2 of those are in red, because they ended up being half days in reality, and we really want to keep it to a 40. Our goal is to, I'm asking for 6 in this document. 2 are contingency. One's contingency on the crane and head wall set, and the other one's just a day contingency on the large crossing section. But me and my team are looking to do this in 4 days of closure, and then we can finish the rest of the work in one-way traffic.
And this was all part of your original
Yeah,
proposal,
yeah.
and this isn't, oh, we found something.
No, this is part of it all. We had originally, Ty and Bond even had they were trying to get it to work for one way for this work, for a one-way closure, and I do have a one-way plan that they prepared. But the engineers don't always know all the nuts and bolts and parts and pieces that we need to actually execute the crane, the truck, in those items, so.
And do we have dates for this?
We'd like to start this work the week of August 5th.
And also, just for people that are potentially watching, you can't do this in the evening because of why?
I have other safety issues with our own safety plan with the bridge, the crane, night work, the river. So
Overall,
if I was to be able to told no, I would come back and have to beg you guys for at least 2 days, and I'd have to do the rest at night.
Okay, and again, as Commissioner Hufford said, it's part of the original plan that you guys have.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
These are all basic infrastructure upgrades that the project requires. In the same way that we replaced the culvert, we buried that culvert on the inside along the parking lot between 1020 and 36 Old Kings Highway. Fortunately, in that case, which was a bigger project, it was only on our property. Here we're upgrading effectively town and state.
Yeah, it's I-95 storm drainage that ran through the site originally that we're rerouting, and then in addition to, it's all the site drainage, so that's why it's a large.
If you had to pick a date to do it, August 5th, this is quiet around
Correct.
here.
Yeah.
So
We
I
want
would
to get
say
it done before
we're-
school even starts thinking, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're 9 days all in, and we're out of the way.
And you have officers out there too, Chief, for this, or Captain?
Yeah, that was going to be part of the request.
I would need to,
An
yes,
officer
I
on
want
it.
to finish detailing those needs, we're used to making those calls and doing that stuff. I could meet with you, I imagine, or?
As far as hiring back
So
the
for
officers,
shut-
that's probably
for-
more of
For a
Captain.
full day closure, would it be just a closure, or would I need an officer in a car on each side for the closure, or is it just my MPT barriers and signage for the full closure?
We can talk about that, depending on
One way,
what it looks like.
I know what it
Yeah,
means for one way.
yeah.
I think the biggest issue is on the Old Kings Highway South Locust Hill Road side, just because those, like, we
That detour
know,
is a long
coming
haul.
to the train in the morning and trying to get to other, like 95, that's gonna be where you're probably gonna wanna communicate, some real communication.
It's a little detour there.
Yeah, I would, I mean, I don't think we have any problem, but communication is always, the devil's in the details when it's the one person who
This
is
is the
trying to get
training.
there, so, yeah. So it won't take long for people to get it, but however, we can communicate it through our social network. Out of the town newsletter already went out, but anyway, we'll figure it out.
Well, as long as our signs are available, we can throw a sign up there.
In advance, right?
In advance to prepare for the week
Yeah,
ahead.
no,
Let's do that.
this is
That's what I
not
was
our
thinking too,
first
yeah.
rodeo.
Right.
Okay.
I'm totally,
That's a good idea.
We
Um,
could, I could volunteer to post signs ahead of time.
That'd be
yeah, we
great.
have signs too, so that'll all get
Okay.
worked out.
That's a good idea.
Because we try to go out of the way for the neighbors and communicate, so we have no problem making a sign, heads up, week of 8, or if you guys have some verbiage you'd like me to use, I'll just take it and make the sign
Take it
up.
up.
And
Okay.
we'll send an advisory out too, like we've done before for the projects.
And it might be going too far, but does the town, would they allow us to do something with the code red, those phone calls?
That's up in the air a little bit. That's normally just for emergencies.
Emergency?
Yeah, we found that through some of the metrics of it, it gets watered down if we use it too much for non-emergency type issues. So since we implemented Code Red, so much has moved in social media platforms. We're finding that our message gets out a lot easier on those platforms than the Code Red. A lot of people don't subscribe their cell phones to it. It's mostly landlines, and who has landlines anymore, you know? So,
All right, do we need a motion to approve their closure?
Motion.
Yep.
All right, I move that we approve the closure at Old Kings Highway South. I've only lived here 59 years and I'm still south, north. So that the Corbin district people can get their work done.
Second.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Okay.
thank you guys both.
Thank you.
I know we already met with you about it, but I thought it would be easier to have you here just in case they had questions that we weren't thinking about, so.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And we'll
Thank
be
you
in
both.
touch just to
Yeah.
schedule times and officers. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
We have each other's contact info.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
very much.
Thanks. New business, proposed draft MOU for schools.
Yeah, I think I'd like to table that one.
Okay.
We don't have that in our packets, and maybe we don't need to. I can just kind of explain what's going on. The MOU for our SROs with the Darien Board of Education is expiring this school year. So there's some new state law language that needs to be put in the MOU, and I've been working with the Director of School Security on having that all tightened up, and I've said that I would bring that up to you all, and if I'm remembering correctly, the only real changes to the existing MOU is the new legal language in there. I know one of the new changes is, depending on a certain type of incident that happens at the high school, there's reporting requirements by the SRO to notify myself and some other town officials within 5 days, some logistical type stuff. And then there was one other addition that Chief Krolikowski entered in the language regarding how SROs get backfilled when they have absences. We've had historical problems with trying to get staffing up there. We were under the impression when this system was put in place that there would be a backup school security officer to fill in for an SRO, and that's not quite the case. So Chief Anderson met with Chief Krolikowski many times trying to figure out the matrix of how that would backfill. And it's been narrowed down to, if I'm remembering correctly, it would be if an SRO is absent and they don't have SSO to fill in at a particular school, then we will use our youth detective. If the youth detective is not available, then patrol officers will staff it as well. And if it's a situation where we're at minimum staffing for the day, we'll hire back overtime, but that would be the last resort. So those are the only real changes in the MOU.
Can you just, for our next meeting, give us a redlined, the old one and then the new one, just so
And,
we
you know, I
have it?
had it on my phone, and Rick, I just emailed to see maybe if you could run off a
That's right,
couple
I don't need it
copies.
now, but I would like to
Because
just,
he already did that for us, so I can
Okay.
definitely pass that along to you.
you know what, send it by, yeah, I don't have to
Okay.
wait till the next meeting, but I'd like to see it in,
For some reason on my phone, the highlights aren't coming up, but he did highlight the changes, so,
excellent. Okay,
all right. And we have some time before the school year starts, I'm sure
Yes,
we'll
we
be
do.
meeting before that.
yeah, if we could see it, and then in their next meeting, if there's any questions or comments from the commissioners, we'll
Okay,
have already
and
read it.
similar to the next one, we don't have the entire GO printed out in front of us, but I know Commissioner Cunningham had some say in that. We reviewed it. It's a new general order for us because we've never had the encrypted radio, but it's been finalized, and I know the commission wanted to vote on that. We mentioned that at the last meeting, so it's several pages long, so I don't know if we wanted to review that in advance or,
I'll give you the summary of them.
Well, you know,
First-
I mean, we have to have it though to approve it, so I think we'll send it to us, and then we can
Okay.
vote on it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Because I think we vote on all the general orders, if I'm not mistaken. But I trust that Commissioner Cunningham has put his eyes on it, but would still be good to see. Speed Grant 2024.
yes. So for the first time, Traffic Officer Bud applied for an aggressive driving and speeding enforcement grant. I know we've been recipients of many grants in the past that had to do with traffic enforcement, but I believe this one is new to the state. So we received a grant which allows us to block out hours of time for our officers to come in and do additional traffic enforcement, targeting those violations that contribute to accidents in and around town and in specific areas, right? Areas where we've seen an uptick in accidents, one being Norotan Avenue for a variety of reasons. So we've been targeting the Norotan Avenue area, obviously the Post Road, sorry?
Tokenique Road.
And Tokenique Road, the no left turn sections there, and we've had some serious accidents on Tokenique. So our officers have responded very well to it. In fact, from the activity report, I know that Captain Hedema separated the data, but we have almost 200 additional traffic stops by these officers working in the grant detail in the last 12 days. So we thought that was pretty remarkable. And close to 500 traffic stops since our last time we met. So I know we've gotten some feedback in town that they know that they've seen the
Good
colors
and
out
bad,
there.
I'm
and-
sure.
And I'll tell you some of the breakdown of it, unless you wanted to.
Is that grant, was it up to $50,000 or is it a certain time frame or a combination of both?
I believe it's a combination of both, but I
Okay.
think it's more based on the amount
Yeah, the
that
amount.
they're giving us.
And then
to-
we figured out how to allocate it.
Yes.
But it does end on a certain date.
Yes.
If the funds aren't used up by that campaign ends at the day.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a notable police presence for motor vehicle stops.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
I mean, even just
Sure.
last week. you've
We've
noticed.
had almost 30 cell phone violations, 3 distracted driving infractions issued, 8 for texting. And the breakdown here between the speeding, it's tough because there's several different statutes that have to do with speeding, so the data isn't that transparent, but there's been over close to 75 just for speed, 75 citations issued just for speeding. And again, a total of almost 200, so they're doing some good work out there. And I know I'm sure it's preventing some otherwise minor and maybe even some serious accidents.
That's great. I think Officer Bud's doing a great job as well. When does he have the motorcycle yet? Is that still
We're
getting
getting
outfitted,
close.
or is that?
He's told me probably by next week. Is that what he's told?
Sounds
Yeah.
about right, yeah.
Good.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if this is a new state, that they've always done it and we've never applied, or this is new, but hopefully we'll show some results, and if they do it again, we'll be front of the line to show that we put it to good use, and hopefully they'll continue doing it, and the town of Darien can benefit from it.
And I just would like to point out the good work again that Officer Bud has put into this. It takes a lot to apply for a grant, and once it's approved and we receive the funds, there's still a lot of follow-up that goes through. he's working on it basically every day.
Right.
The back end of things as far as reporting back to the state. So, good job on his part.
Great job.
Agreed. Mather Homestead Fall Harvest Festival.
Yes, this isn't going to be anything we need to vote on. I kind of went back with Rick and looked at this topic in the past. We have quite a large file about the Mather Homestead because they have some exceptions in planning and zoning. In fact, I was just on the phone with Fred Donite because they have a special application in to hold this event in the fall. The way we've ruled on it in the past, as long as all the parking for that event is done on the property and doesn't impact the safety of the roadways or pedestrian traffic, then there wasn't anything that we needed to approve. So I told Mrs. Raker, who has her name on the special permit, that I would just advise the police commission that provided it stays with the same provisions we asked for last time, that they could move forward with it.
Excellent, okay. Social media officers?
Yeah, I think I'll let Captain Hedema talk to that end.
So we were looking to add some officers to our, I want to say point of contact for community members and, utilize maybe some younger, more experienced website and social media people to get out some topics and pictures and things that we're doing that we
event
just
coverage.
Yeah, event coverage and things that the police department's doing that we haven't been able to really put out there just because of time issues and restraints and only having certain people doing, police advisory stuff. So we have picked Officer LeCarry and Officer Thurston to help our social media sites, and we've just been putting out a lot of information recently, and whether it's campaigns we're doing out there with the public. We had some officers go up to Camp Current. We put that on social media recently. So good and bad of everything we're doing. It's not just press releases that we're putting out, but now it's how we're interacting with the public and the community. And I think just, refreshing our social media is healthy. So we're excited that
Just
those
in the
two
last
hopped
week.
on board.
Just in the last week, those officers put out photos of our SROs being up in Hartford, participating in a new PSA campaign that Channel 3 is doing. As Alex said, the fireworks. As Captain Hedema said, the Camp Current, which is out of Hartford as well. They have a law enforcement day. It's a free camp for underprivileged kids in the Hartford area. And police from all over came and interacted with the kids. And then even the Marine Division stopping by the Youth Commission camp at the depot for some photo ops and stuff. These are things that the town otherwise wouldn't have known we were even involved in. So I think it's definitely a positive showing on our part.
It's Facebook, Instagram.
X.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm older, sorry.
We tend to, and we're going to have that conversation with these officers. We reserve Twitter, X, for more of the emergency type stuff when there's roadway closures,
Twitter,
bad
yeah.
accidents, and
Yeah.
That makes
but they're doing a good job. I'm looking forward to it. I'm almost relieved when I see the posts, and it wasn't me that had to do it.
Right.
Pass the torch, so to speak.
Excellent. Okay, resignation of Officer Bouzakis.
Yes, as you know, Officer Bouzakis took a position with an agency out of state. I thank him for his time and work he put in while he was here. It's an opening of a spot that we don't like to see. We don't like to see officers leaving, but we wish him and his family the best with this new chapter.
And the commission will be interviewing before the summer's over, or are we in
We're hoping.
a dead period now?
Do we have an anticipated closeout date for applications?
We're going to run it pretty much through August. That's the plan, anticipation for that retirement. So at that point, I would say we're going to have interviews scheduled as soon as early September. So
Got
yeah,
it.
basically right through the summer.
Is it entry and laterals, or?
Yeah, it'll be entry and in-state laterals.
Thank you.
And then the 53rd officer, barring any retirements, that's January, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think this
So we'll start
group of
that
applicants
process
will
prior to
include that as
January.
well.
Okay. It will be, okay.
Okay.
And one other update as far as some of our personnel. We did hear this past week about probationary officer Cook, who's in the police academy in Stanford. And if I remember correctly, she's
Top of her
currently at the
class.
top of her class.
Yeah,
Great.
excellent job.
This is the first class that Stanford's done. It's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Alarm, request for funds from the alarm fund. First line supervisor training for Sergeants Wallman and Martin.
So as the commission knows, we partnered with Roger Williams University, and we've sent numerous officers there for a variety of training, and we like to get all of our new supervisors through the first line supervisor school that they put on. It's a 2-week program up there in Bristol, Rhode Island, and we have historically used funds from the alarm fund, and I'll turn it over to Captain Mastriani if he's got any other info on it.
Yeah, just like what the chief said, we traditionally, we want to get our newly promoted sergeants this type of valuable training. It's certainly beneficial to them as it aids in their transition to the new roles. I'm sure Captain Hadema and Chief Marion could agree with me that the biggest hurdle is jumping from officer to sergeant. So we want to make sure that they transition well into these positions, and it's only going to help them and the department as a whole. And I think all three of us attended that course specifically and found it to be really good, so.
Definitely value in that. Got it.
Yep. Okay. Do we have a dollar amount or up to? Or-
Up to 8,100, and that
Okay.
will include tuition, everything for both sessions.
Accommodations, everything?
Hotel,
Okay.
meals, everything.
I make a motion that we approve $8,100 from the alarm fund to provide first line supervisor training for Sergeants Wallman and Martin.
Second.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Excellent. Well, this being a special meeting, we have come to the end. We are going to executive session, discussion on personnel issues. We will not come out and take any votes. We should set our next meeting.
I believe Rick said the next regularly scheduled meeting would be the 15th of August, right in the middle of the month. I'm sorry, no. It would be the 1st of August, right?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, which I don't
No.
think we need to.
I don't think I'm here on the 15th. Can we push it to the next week?
I'm definitely not here on the 15th.
How's the next
Okay.
week for everybody?
22nd?
22nd.
22nd?
22nd's tough for me. I mean, I can do 21 or I can do 21st. That's the only date. That's pretty tough.
You do 22nd, do 21, whatever.
Wait, so the 22nd is the Thursday?
Thursday.
So
Right.
you could do Wednesday?
That's gonna be 4 o'clock. I can do 22nd. That's fine. I can do it.
Would you rather do it Wednesday? Anyone?
Yeah, Wednesday would be better just to be safe on my end if we can do it.
I don't have any conflict.
Conflicts, anybody?
No.
So Wednesday the 21st?
Wednesday, the 21st. And with that, we are adjourned.